What's going on, guys? Balkan Architect here, and in this week's course I'm continuing on with the office building in Revit project. Now, last week we finished off with the curtain facade or the curtain wall facade. Now I've moved on, and first thing I did was play around a little bit here in the structural core. If I go here in the first floor, I had to add the opening here for the elevator shaft as well as the stairs, and then also we need to stretch our stairs to span all of the levels. So this is what it looks like now. We've played around a little bit around with the materials of the stair, also adding this nice stone finish on the stair. I think it's going to look really nice. And then also, while we were here, I kind of started playing around with all of the floors. So as you can see, all of the floors now have their respective layers. Here this one is a bit thicker just because we don't have that construction underneath, and this one is a bit thinner because of all of the construction. But then we were presented with a few problems, which I then show you how to fix and set up correctly. Also, here we have a different floor for the balcony. This little let's cancel out of that. This little balcony over here, we have of course a separate floor for that. Moving on, I did all of the foundation as well. So if we go here into the underground level, as you can see, we have new walls. We have our foundation walls, which are of course different from regular walls just because they have to have some sort of damp proofing, insulation from the water, the groundwaters, things like that. So I show you how to set that up and then how to connect all of the walls and all of the layers. Also, of course, we modeled the foundation, as you can see over here. Here we have the foundation. Of course, we're going to be playing around with these details a lot more in the future, but for now, this is what it looks like. So we have all of the layers here. Everything is set up perfectly. Also, I show you how to do the roof. So as you can see here, we have a roof, and even though it's a flat roof, it has a little bit of a slope. So if I maybe go into 3D, there we go. So we have this kind of middle line that splits the roof into surfaces, and then water is going to flow down to this part, and that's where you can put all of your drainage elements and things like that. So that's pretty much what I cover in this course, and that's what you're going to be seeing in the next hour. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now it's time we start talking about the stairs a bit more in depth. So here we are. This is just the 3D view. So what I'm going to do now is just go here to our first level floor plan, and here in our structural core with the staircase and the elevator shaft, here we have the staircase, and currently it looks okay. But if I create a section that goes through that staircase, so I'm just going to go like this and just create that section. Now to flip it around, I'm just going to hit these flip section little arrows, and as you can see now it's flipped to the other side, and I can drag this extent a bit inside just because I don't need to go any further than this. Okay, and now let's open up that section and see what we have. Okay, here we go. So here, as you can see here in this section, we have our staircase or our stair, and it's currently going from first level up to second level, and that's okay. Actually, we want to have a stair going there, but we also want to have a stair going from ground level to first level as well as underground to ground level. Now, luckily, these are all its same distances. So from ground level to first level, it's 418. From here to here, it's 418. And from ground level up down to underground, it's also 418. So we have the same stair. So what we just need to do is now turn this into a single level stair into a multi-level stair. So here we have a multi-story stair option. So just select your stair. I like to do this either in a section or a 3D view, just because this is enclosed inside of that concrete. We can't really see it, so that's why I'm in section and I can't see it in a 3D view. So I'm just going to select it here and go here to select levels. So just go here to multi-story stair, select levels, and now you have an option to connect levels. So basically you're saying where else do you want your stair to lead. Now, I don't want my stair to go to the roof. I don't need to go up to the roof, so I just need to go down to ground level and here underground as well. Now, as you can see, when I highlight one of these, the other one doesn't highlight, so either hold the control key to make a multiple selection or just do a cross selection like this. So now, as these levels are selected, you can add them to selection or to your stair. Just by hitting the finish kind of check button, and here we go. Now we have a multi-story stair. Now, as you can see, if I select it, it's kind of a it's grouped, but also if I just go in, hit the tab key once, twice, now you can select the individual stair. You can edit it here, or you can unpin it and then make additional adjustments to it. Also, here we have this wall. This is the wall that I like to leave in for ventilation connection and all of that. So basically, I want to have a ventilation shaft that goes all the way from the underground up to roof, so we can have a vertical connection for all of our HVAC units and elements. So what I'm just going to do is select this wall and change the constraints from here. Base constraint, I want to go from underground, and top constraint, I want to go all the way up to roof level, and there we go. So we have that wall as well for the shaft. Now let's take a look at this here stair that we have, this multi-story stair that we have created. So I'm going to go here to back to first level, and as you can see, this looks a bit weird. We have the kind of where the run starts, but the run from the stair from the bottom, we can't really see it. We see the outline, we see the railing here, but we can't really see the stair. The reason for that is we need to have a hole in the floor where the stair is. We can't have a stair going through a floor. We have to have an opening here. So for that, we have to create a shaft opening or a vertical opening. So what I like to do is just go here to shaft. So that's shaft opening. It looks like this when we hover over this little command. And I'm just going to select that, and let's make an opening everywhere in this building where we, well, need to have an opening. So I'm going to go like this from here all the way to the other side of the stair over here, just like that. And also inside of the elevator shaft as well, we also have to have a shaft opening for that as well. And when I hit finish, it's going to look like this. Now what I like to do is go back here into the 3D, and here we have some grips, and as you can see, you can move this and extend it a little bit to make it go through several floors. Now we don't want it to go through this floor here, and maybe we can go into a section, and yeah, in section it looks a lot better. So basically this is like an extrusion, so wherever this extrusion goes through, it's going to open up the levels. So we needed to make an opening here in both the ground level, first level and second level, and underground and roof don't need an opening, so let's leave it out there. When I hit finish, as you can see here, we now have an opening. Now you might not be able to see it very well, so let's turn this to maybe fine level of detail. And now here, as you can see, this is up to where we have a section. Maybe turn off the thin lines, and as you can see, this is where we have that little opening. And it basically looks like that. Okay, so once we have this in place, the next thing that we need to fix up for our stair is the railing. So if I go here back to my first level, as you can see here, railing stops over here, and here we have a hole. And if we go ahead and measure it, it's like 20 centimeters. So I think that's enough for somebody to fall through. So that's not good. We can't have that. So what we need to do is we need to close that opening. So what I'm just going to do is just select the railing, go here into edit path, and then I'm just going to extend this a little bit, then go with a straight line like this, and then we can use the trim and extend tool and trim and extend this. Now we can play around with this a little bit if we want, but there we go. That's basically what we want to have. Hit finish, and there we go, it looks like this. Now I know it might look a bit weird over here. The reason for that is if we open this up is that this railing, as you can see, it starts off a bit higher and this ends up over here, so it might look a bit weird, but well, that's how this type of a rail connects. As you can see, the same thing happens over here, so we have to kind of live with it and leave it as is. So basically now we have that closed off, but if we go here into second level, here this ends, and then here is where the railing ends, but it stops there, and this whole area is open. So what we need to do here is play around and add a new railing. So just go here to railing, and then choose the same type, which is this 900 millimeter pipe, and then go from this point here all the way to the edge, hit finish, and there we go. Now if we open up this section, there we go, we have added this part of railing just to close off this here part of the stair. So let's go back to second level. Yeah, this now looks alright, and there we go, we have completed our stair. One more thing before we move on from the staircase, and that's the finish of the stair. Now let's make it a bit nicer, let's make it a bit cooler and cleaner. So if I just open up this section, you're going to notice that here, and let me just turn on 10 lines for a second. Okay, let's save the project. And here, as you can see, if we look at just the hatch of this stair, it's concrete, and I'm not really sure which one, so let's just select the stair and double check that. So let me just hit the tab key once, twice, just to select one stair, go into edit type, and here we go, here we have our type properties for this stair. Maybe we can make this dialog a bit smaller. Okay, so now here if we go to the run type and just open that up, here you can see the material, and it's cast in suit concrete, and I actually like to use the cast in place gray, especially because we have created this cool cut pattern. So if I just hit OK, it's just going to change the material, and then apply, okay, and then change the kind of the hatch as well. Now here for the landing we have the same problem, so let's select the same stair, go here into edit type. So let's see the landing type, we can go ahead here and change the material as well. So let's use the same material, okay, okay again, apply, okay, and there we go. So now we have the same hatch here. Now one more thing that I like to change here as far as stairs are considered, and that's the finish material. So as you can see here, the concrete is going all the way to the edge. Now you can have a concrete stair, but it's not common and it doesn't look that nice. So what I like to do is I actually like to change the finish material of the stair. So what you can do is again go ahead and select that stair. So one tab, two tab, there we go, select one stair. Go here into edit type and then go into run type and open it up, and here we have the tread and riser. Now usually these are used for assembled stairs, but you can actually use them for monolithic stairs to add stair finish. So what I like to do is go here to tread, turn it on, go to riser, turn it on, bring down the thickness to something realistic, which let's go with 1 centimeter, and here for riser again thickness 1 centimeter. So I want to have 1 centimeter here, and then just for the material, here we have the tread material and riser material. Let's go and see what we can use. So let's open up these materials. Let's see what we have. Let's go into ceramics. Okay, this is what we have. Or tile. We can use some sort of tile. Ceramic tile, let's see. Or we can let's see what else, maybe some stone. I actually like this Traveline stone, Travertine stone. I'm not really sure the name, so let me just load that in, and that's actually what I'm going to use. So just hit apply, okay, and then I'm just going to go Control C and then Control V here to paste it, and there we go. So we have that finished material. So now if I hit OK, apply, OK, and just zoom in, you're going to notice that here we have an extra layer of finish, and that's basically the finish of our stair. And now we have a nicer, cleaner finish and not just concrete on top. So there we go. Now we have a nice, clean looking stair. Now let's move on to the roof. So the roof is a really important part of the building, so let's see what do we have to do to complete this roof. So as you can see here, as far as the roof is concerned, we only have this one like basic roof on top, like just a flat roof, and that's it. We don't really have anything else. Well, the roof for this type of a building does require a bit more elements. We do have to have some structure elements, and we can actually use the ones that we have underneath over here that are holding in the floor. So we will have to play around with those. So to do that, to copy those elements that we already have there, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, let me just perhaps select this ceiling. If I could possibly make that selection, there we go. And as you can probably tell, underneath this ceiling, maybe you can tell, we have actually, as you can see here, these are some beams and a beam system, things like that. We have done that a bit earlier, where we have completed the whole construction for the floors. So now we need to use that construction and move it along here onto the roof. So what we can do for that is just move the building, orbit it to the front. So just go here to front on this little view cube, and then just zoom in. And what I like to do is just do a cross selection like this, and just select the whole like floor area. Then what you will do is go here to filter, and then go to check none, and now we just need to select the elements that we need to copy to the roof line. So for those elements, we need the structural beam system, we need the structural framing, and the structural framing other, both joist and other. So basically now we have selected all of the elements, the structural elements that are included over here, and we don't really want to select any of the other ones. We don't want the plumbing fixtures, the levels, the furniture, the floors, none of that. We just want to have the beams, and the beams are structural beam system, structural framing joist, and structural framing other. So once we have made this selection, or refined the selection to be more precise, we can just hit here apply, okay, and as you can see, nothing seems to be selected because it's hidden between the floor and the ceiling. But if you orbit around on top, as you can see, we have the whole beam system selected over here. Okay, so once this is all selected, what you need to do is go here to copy. Just go to the clipboard, go to copy, paste, align to selected levels, and then you just need to select the roof level, hit OK. And there we go. Now, as you can see, something has moved, but we can't really see it. But if I select this roof, and as you can see now on the bottom, we have the whole beam system. We have the beams running on this direction, and the beam system running in the other direction. So we have the whole construction underneath in place. Okay, so once we have done that, we have to make some other adjustments here as well. So here, as you might remember from the videos where I've worked on this curtain system, I have extended the curtain system on top. Up on top, I have given it a top offset of 60 centimeters. Now, I want to mirror that offset, or to use that offset also here for these walls as well here. So just select the exterior walls, hold the control key to select both of those, and then go here for the top offset, and let's just place in that 60 centimeters, and there we go. So now we have these walls that are going all the way to the top. Also, now I will select the roof, and then go into edit footprint, and let's just change the footprint to be on the interior side of these walls. So I'm just going to go like that, and then let's select this edge here, this edge here as well. Okay, that's the same edge, so I don't really need this line. So I'm just going to delete this line, and then here I'm going to go with the trim and extend tool. So as you can see, just select this line, then this, and then just go like that. So we're basically going on the outside, on the inside of the walls. So if you orbit around, as you can see now, the footprint is going on the interior side of the walls, and that's what I want to have. Actually, we don't have to have them on the interior side of the walls. What you can actually do is just go maybe to the first level or something like that, and then just make sure you go up to the structural part of the wall, just like this. And if you can pinpoint it, just zoom in a little bit, or use the align tool. So just go here to align, and then hit the tab key a few times to make that align. Okay, I think this looks correct now, and just hit finish. Go into 3D, and now this looks correct, and we have that wall going above that edge, so we can't really see the roof from the bottom of the building, and that's what you want to have. Okay, now we just need to make some adjustments to the roof layers. So just go here to the roof, and then let's go into edit type. Now I'm going to duplicate this one, and let's just call it office roof. And I'm going to delete everything else afterwards, just because I don't know how tall or how thick the roof is going to be. Let's first add the layers, and then here we're going to get the thickness information, and then we can type it in the name. So let's just go here into structure. So for structure, I'm just going to use the same concrete that you use for everything else. So let's just go here to concrete, cast in place gray. That's the one that we want to use, the one where we have changed the cut pattern. So let's just hit OK. For thickness, I'm going to go with 16 centimeters and add here a variable. This is important just because we want to add some slope to this roof. Even though it's a flat roof, you want to have some slope even on your flat roof, because you want the water to kind of get away. Next thing, let's add a few more layers. So I'm just going to hit insert a few times, and then this one will be the thermal air layer, the second one will be the membrane layer, and after that we have the finish layer. Okay, so for the thermal layer, let's just go for insulation, and let's go with this perhaps rigid insulation. Or actually, what I'm going to do, let me just close out of this, select the wall, and let's see which insulation I used here. Okay, so I used this insulation, so I'm just going to select it, go to Control-C to copy that, cancel out of that, cancel out of here, and then just go back to our roof, edit, and then here, okay, I guess I canceled those changes. That was a dumb mistake. So let's just make those changes again, and then insert a few more layers. So this one is going to be that thermal layer, so let's just paste that material in, and let's say we have 20 centimeters of this insulation, so that's thermal insulation. This one is just the membrane layer, and for that we need to find the damp proofing material. Okay, here we go. And this being a thermal layer or membrane layer, it doesn't really have a thickness, so keep that in mind. And for the final finish layer, I'm going to go with just a little bit gravel on top. Let's go with 3 centimeters, and let's just find the gravel. Here we go, load it in. Hit apply, okay, there we go. And just keep in mind that only this one, the concrete material, is variable, the rest of these are not. Okay, hit okay, hit apply. There we go. So now we know that this default thickness is 39 centimeters, so we can go ahead and rename this one. So the name will be dash 39 cm for centimeters. Hit enter, hit OK, and there we go. So now we finally have our completed roof. As I mentioned in the previous video, we have to add a little bit of slope to this roof, even though it's a flat roof, just so we can have somewhere for the water to escape. So for a slope for this type of a roof, as you can see, it's kind of long in this direction, but looking in this direction, it's not that long. So what we can do is we can have some sort of a drainage line over here in this middle line. So what I'm going to do is just go here to roof level. Here we go. Then what we need to do is select the roof. Now here we have some underlay, that's why we can see the construction. We shouldn't be able to see it. So what we can do here is just go to underlay settings and then just turn this to none. And now we don't really see anything, we just see the flat roof. So just go here to the edge, hit the tab key a few times until you can select the whole roof, and then we can start playing around. So let's go ahead and see what can we do here by adding perhaps a split line. So basically this allows us to create a split line that splits our building in half, and the position of that split line can be pretty much anywhere where you want to have it. So what I decided to do is just to host it here, from this point all the way to the other side, to perhaps this point. There we go, we have that split line, and now let's just go into 3D. There we go, this is what that looks like. And then once you select it, you can go here to modify sub elements, select that line, and here let's give it an offset of like minus, I don't know, like 5 centimeters. We can do the same thing for this one, minus 5. And let's try to select this edge. Okay, that's minus 5 for this as well. And for this one as well, minus 5. So just play around just a little bit so you don't make any unnecessary wrong edges of this thing. So I think this looks fine right now as is. So let's just go ahead to modify, and there we go. So we have that split line, and if you want to make sure that this thing looks good, so let's go back into our floor level. Here we already have this section. Let's perhaps move it just a little bit over here to this side, and then let's open up that section. And as you can see here, we have that split line over here. Now, we seem to have a problem. This looks like it has a correct slope, but this side doesn't. It looks like it has like some slope here, but on this side it doesn't anymore, so it looks kind of weird. That's just because here, if I go into 3D, what Revit does is basically it kind of sloped this whole thing. Oops. Just go to modify sub elements. It kind of sloped from here and then up to here, and then it stopped, and then that's why it looks weird. So what you can do is perhaps select these two or this whole thing and give it an elevation of minus, I don't know, like minus 3 centimeters. There we go. And then this whole thing can be at like 1 centimeter height. Okay, I think this should look a bit better now. Let's go to modify sub elements again, and let's just bring this all up to like +1. Okay, I think it should look better, so let's go back to that section, and yes, it does. So basically this is the middle point where everything kind of goes to, and as you can see, it's the lowest point. So it goes from here down to here, and then from here up to here. So at this point it looks fine, and we have a correct slope for our flat roof. And then later on you can talk to like the whoever is in charge of plumbing to place a some sort of a vertical drainage pipe anywhere here along this line of this kind of split line in the middle. Now it's a good time to move to the foundation of the building. Now the foundation for this type of a building can be a bit complicated, just because we have this underground floor, and also it should be a heated underground floor, so we do have to have some sort of layers and thermal insulation for the whole foundation and the foundation walls and the foundation underneath. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to go here to the underground level, just like this. Now, as you can see here, we have these exterior layers now, because we can't really see these exterior walls, but we can't really see the layers. So let's go here and change the detail level from coarse to fine, and now as you can see, we can see these layers. Now for these walls over here, we can't really see any of the layers, and the reason for that is because these are just the generic 200mm walls, so they don't really have any layers. So the first good thing that we can do is to modify these walls and to add some layers to them. So the first thing that I'm going to do is just modify this this wall, and let's call it a new wall, and let's make it a foundation wall. So I'm going to go here into edit type, duplicate this existing wall, and let's call this one a foundation wall. Okay, so for the foundation wall, I'm going to go here into edit type for structure, and for the structure I'm going to leave it at 20mm for the structural layer. I'm just going to change the material from nothing basically to concrete. And let me go to the one that we've used for pretty much everything, which is the cast in place gray. Just hit OK here, and there we go. Okay, so the next layer that I'm going to add is on the interior side, and that's just going to be the interior finish. So let's move it down outside of the core boundary, and let's add the finish here, and let's make it a gypsum wallboard. Okay, there we go, and let's call that one a 1 centimeter layer. Okay, so once we have that in place, let's start working for the exterior layers. Now, this being a foundation wall, it will require some basically damp proofing or hydro insulation. So just select the top core boundary layer and then insert a new layer, so it will automatically be inserted on the exterior side. And the function of this layer will be a thermal air layer. Now here, just because I have already placed some insulation layers, I can just kind of Control V to paste that, basically that material, but basically I'm using this EIFS exterior insulation. Now you can use something different if you want. I'm using this just because it's one of the materials that are available within the Revit material library, and we have already changed the cut pattern to this yellow just to represent the thermal layer. Hit OK here, and for the thickness of the insulation, I'm going to go with the same thickness as we did for the rest of the walls, which is 15 centimeters. Let's select that layer and go to Insert. So let's insert one more layer. This will be the membrane layer, and this will be damp proofing. So let's just try to find that. Here we go, damp proofing. Now the thickness for this will be 0, just because that's one of those layers that has like 0 thickness. It's just a membrane layer, and you can't really add thickness to a membrane layer. If I were to add some thickness here, we will get an error. So let's add one more layer here, and this is just the finished material. You can use whatever you want. I like to use some sort of a masonry units or something like that. So let's just add a 6 centimeter or let's search for some masonry. We can go with common brick or something like that. Hit OK, and there we go. So we just have a kind of a brick on top, just to kind of just to hold that hold all of the layers in together. Usually when these walls are being built, you have first you build the brick layer, and then you add the insulation to that, and then you pour the concrete. So we can go maybe actually go with 12 centimeters. I think that's what would be included in the regulation, at least in my country. So I'm just going to hit OK here. OK, here the function. Okay, it's recognizing that the structure function is for the last one. That's why we have that error. So let's just change that to finish and hit OK. There we go. And we have finally done our foundation wall. Now what I like to do is just go here to width and just look at this number. It's 48, so let me just rename this one and just add dash 48 centimeters, just to add a bit more information here in the name. Hit OK, and there we go. We have that layer. Now what I'm going to do is, or we have that wall. Now what I'm going to do is just move it a bit to the outside. Let's see, and then let's see how can we align this correctly. So if I go here to the align tool and then just select the this edge of the column, and then let's try to select this edge of the core boundary, and yeah, let's align it like that. Okay, I think it looks correct now. So if I just go over here to this wall, yeah, as you can see now, it's kind of fitting in that wall perfectly. So we have that exterior wall here. Now we have to do the same thing pretty much all the way around here as well. And let's just change that to our foundation wall. Where is it? Here it is. And just select that, and yeah, I guess the selection went off, so let's select the rest of these and then do that same foundation wall, 48 centimeter. And now again, just make sure you align it correctly. So just kind of move it out of the way, then use the align tool and then align it to the edge of the column, and then hit the tab key just to align it like this. Same thing here, select this thing, then use the tab key just like that. Okay, this looks correct now. Same thing here, just use the tab key. Okay, for some reason it's not working, so you can just move it a little bit and then let's try again. So just align tool. There we go, now it's working. And the same thing here. There we go, and here as well. and this one is correct. Okay, there we go. So now this looks pretty good. Okay, we have this wall over here. Yeah, I guess this is just one of the interior walls. So let's just move it in a little bit, and then maybe we can play around with it. Okay, it's moving this wall. Okay, that's one of the problems that you'll have in Revit constantly. When this wall is attached here, as you can see, it's attached to the same point where this wall is attached. So if we start moving this wall around, it will drag this wall with it. So a good idea to do is just to just unconnect that and then move it like this freely. So we can maybe move it here, or maybe align it to this edge over here, and then we can extend it, and we'll play around with the layers of this wall and maybe some doors, things like that later on. Here it might be a good idea to connect these. So there we go. Okay, so these are connected, and this looks quite nice. Now what you can do also here is you can join these. So if I go into 3D, it looks like this. So you can just go here to join, and then just the column won't be visible anymore just because it's joined to the wall. So it will look like this. Same thing here, and the same thing here. So just using the join tool. Okay, I guess that's all right. There we go, and this corner as well, and this one as well. Okay, this looks pretty good right now. Okay, one more thing is here, if we take a look at this wall over here, it isn't the foundation wall, it's the structural exterior wall. Now the problem with that one is that the layers are not fitting the purpose of a foundation wall. You want the foundation wall to have that damp proofing membrane layer, and this wall doesn't. So what you can do is, just to make it a bit simpler and easier, is you don't want to kind of create a new wall. What I like to do in these cases is just to either just go ahead over here and just change the base constraint from underground to ground level, just like that. Same thing with this one, from underground to ground level, and then you would use the trim and extend tool here to connect these two walls, and there we go. Looks perfect. And now if we go down to underground level, everything looks to be correct. Okay, this looks a bit weird. And we can of course just make some adjustments like that, and there we go. Same thing here. And then just go into 3D just to make sure that it didn't make any mistakes here on the facade, and as you can see, it didn't. So there we go, we have this wall in place. Now here I can see some sort of a weird gap, so let's just go to ground level or first level just to see what's going on there. Okay, here we go. So this wall should be extended just a little bit, just like that. Okay, this looks all right, and then here we can go and join these. There we go, looks okay. Let's just go back to underground just to double check everything. Yeah, everything looks correct now. So there we go, we have our foundation walls in place. Now to complete this foundation, we will have to, well, add the foundation. If I orbit this building around, as you can see, we really have nothing on the bottom, so we do have to add the foundation. So for foundation, what I'm going to do is just go back to our underground level. Let's just save the project. There we go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is go here to the structure tab, and here we have foundation. And here we have the whole foundation like panel, and I'm going to go with the slab. Now you have an option for a slab and a slab edge. We're going to be talking about the slab edge a bit later on, but let's start off with the foundation slab. Now we can add layers over here, as you can see, as for any other floor, but for now let's just place the whole foundation. So for the foundation, I want to place it on the exterior side, so I'm just going to go kind of like this perhaps, and then maybe add this thing and this thing. And there we go. Now I'm just going to go here to trim and extend this to that, and there we go. So we basically have our foundation slab. Now this is determining the kind of the span direction. I'm going to leave it as is because I'm happy with this span direction. Okay, so once I hit finish here, let's play around with the layers a little bit. So I'm going to go here into edit type and duplicate this one, and let's just call it our office foundation, and let's delete this, and later on we're going to input the thickness, just because we are first going to change the structure a little bit, and then we can change the name to include that thickness. So first, for the structural layer, of course the main structural layer will have to be concrete, and let's go with something a bit thicker. So I'm going to actually go with something like let's go with, I don't know, 30 centimeters of concrete. Now here it's cast in suit. I'm just going to change that to cast in place, hit OK, and there we go. So we have that as our main layer. Then on top of that layer, what I'm going to insert here is going to be some sort of a thermal layer. So I'm going to have 15 centimeters of some sort of a thermal layer, and let's just paste the one, oops, not that one. Let's, I guess we have to find it, so let's search for insulation. And here we go. I want to go with this exterior insulation, and the thickness will be 15 centimeters. Okay, so once we have that placed, let's just go with some sort of a finish layer, and for that let's just go here to insert, and this will be finish. Let's go with 3 centimeters, and let's see what we have here from materials. Let's go with some concrete, but maybe something a bit different. So maybe we can go with either precast panels or something like that, just to have the finish material. So that would look like this. I think that's a nice finish for the interior side. Okay, so once we have that finish in place, let's now take a look at the other side. So on the other side, what we need to have is some sort of a damp proofing, so some sort of a hydro insulation. So let's insert that layer, bring it down underneath the core boundary, and let's add the membrane layer there. And for the thickness, of course, it will be 0 as any other membrane layer. And let's just type in here damp proofing. Here we go, we have that. And let's insert one more layer, bring it down. And for this, I'm just going to go with another concrete layer just below this, and that will be just a simple 10 centimeter concrete layer. So let's search for concrete. There we go, hit OK, OK again, and there we go. So it's on the whole, it's 58 centimeters. So let's just rename this one and just do dash 58 centimeters, and that's OK. Okay, there we go. Just hit OK, and there we go. We have our foundation. Now on the bottom of this foundation, I just want to add some sort of a slab edge, so let's just go here to slab edge. Now for the profile, let's see what we have. Okay, so this is the slab edge that we have created for our roof construction. So let's just duplicate this one and call it foundation. And then here we can change the profile then, and let's go with the 200 by 600 millimeter, hit OK, and now I can insert that slab edge just like this all the way around our foundation. And now if I just go to maybe my first level floor plan, open this section up, and there you go, we have this foundation with that slab edge. Now you can join the slab edge to the whole foundation layer just by going here with the join tool, and there we go. It's now joined and it looks a lot better. Okay, so there we go. That's our foundation. Now, of course, we can play around a bit later on, a bit more with the layers. Actually, I want to change maybe this slab edge just a little bit, maybe make it a bit wider. So what I'm going to do is just go here to families, search for, let's see, let's search for floors, slab edge foundation. Okay, so that's a profile, I guess, then. So let's go with profiles. Let's see, slab edge. Okay, so that's this one, I think. Yeah, and let's make it a bit wider. So let's go with 80 centimeters, perhaps. Click OK, there we go. So that's 80 centimeters, and I think it looks a bit better like this. It's a bit thicker, and it looks a bit more like a foundation element. There we go. Now this, you might be thinking that this doesn't look right, this detail over here, and you'll be right to say that, but we will going to be modifying this later on when we're going to be doing details. For now on, we can just join these two if that's something you want to do. So you can go just like that, join. And then here, oops. Yeah, and then we're going to be playing around with this connection a bit later on, because as you can see, this looks, well, quite wrong to be honest. Okay, so we're done, pretty much done with our foundation. Now, just one more quick thing to note as far as the foundation is concerned. Here we are in the underground level, and you will notice that here, if I come and hover near this wall, we have something that looks like this, and if I select it, you will see that this is a slab edge. Now, if I go back to one of the sections, you'll notice that the slab edge is underneath the whole foundation, so for some reason we can't really see the foundation in the underground level. Now, the only solution that I found to this problem is, or the reason for this problem is, I think that foundation is only visible when it's completely encompassed by the view. So in order to get that, what you need to do is just go here to underground and type in VR for view range. Or alternatively, you can go here in the properties panel and then search for VR view range. Here we go. And then go into edit, and then here just change the bottom to unlimited and the view depth to unlimited. Hit apply. Okay, and there we go. Now we have the foundation. As you can see, we have that white slab, and here we'll get this kind of annotation that's showing the span direction. Now if you don't need this, just select it and hit delete, and there we go. The foundation will be left there, and there we go. We fixed that problem. If we take a look at this building, and if I zoom in like this, here in the office, we can see the beams and the beam system that's running along below this floor. Also, if I were to go maybe to the first level floor plan, as you can see, the floor looks has this hatch on it, and that hatch is from the concrete material that's being used for this floor. Now, if you know anything about office buildings, you probably know that you're not going to find concrete anywhere inside of an office. Usually, you're going to have some sort of a wood or carpeting and some sort of a noise insulation, just something to protect when people are basically walking on the floor. You don't want to have sound or too much sound coming from the floor, so you do have to have some sort of noise insulation, some noise deadening, and then over that you will have some sort of a either wood or maybe carpet or something like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just change that floor, but that's also going to give us a few problems that we're going to be talking about later on. So first, just to change the layers of the floor, let's just select the existing floor here. So that's this floor, and then go here into edit boundary, or you don't have to go into edit boundaries, just go here into edit type to change the structure of this floor. Go here into edit, and here the thickness is currently 12 centimeters. That's okay. I want to have a structural layer that's 12 centimeters thick, but I want to add a few more finishing layers. So let's insert one more and one more. So this one will be let's call it a substrate layer, and then here we're going to have a finish layer. This is going to be just 2 centimeters, so this is just some sort of insulation, some sort of a noise insulation. So let's see what do we get as far as insulation. Let's go with perhaps the rigid insulation for this one, and we can hit OK. And then finally for the finish, let's go with a wood floor. Let's say it's in fancy office, so let's go here to wood, and then we can use, let's see, do we have some flooring here? oak flooring. Yeah, let's go with this. Let's go with oak flooring, and then here, as you can see, the cut pattern has this sort of a hatch. I don't really need that, so I'm just going to go here and go with the none. But here for the foreground, you can add something. So you can go with maybe something that looks like a that looks like wood flooring. So let's see, do we have something that looks like this? Maybe this can look interesting, but also I would like to change the color to something that would match the wood. Something like this, I think it could look nice. Hit apply, okay. And then here let's add the thickness, another 2 centimeters. I think that would be enough. Hit okay, apply, okay, and there we go. So if we zoom in, as you can see, we have that kind of wood floor hatch. Now if you don't like this, you can get rid of it, and if you like it, you can leave it. So one thing that I like to do if I'm going to leave something like this is go here into edit type and then find that hatch. So oak flooring, this is that hatch or that pattern, and then I like to go here into edit pattern, and here we can change the scale. So I can change it to like 2, so it's a bit larger, or even 3, and then I think in that case it could look a bit nicer. Yeah, there you go. So as you can see, it looks a bit nicer. Of course, if you don't want it, I'm just going to go let's select that floor. So you just hit the tab key a few times to select the floor, and then yeah, let's just get rid of that hatch. I think this is going to be for our technical plans, and for those you don't really need a hatch here. So let's just go no pattern, hit apply, okay, okay again, apply, and there we go. Okay, so now this looks a bit better. We don't really have that concrete pattern here, but we are presented with a problem, and now we can't really see that problem currently. But if I were to open up this section, perhaps let's open that up, and let's zoom out a little bit, and let's search for that first level floor plan. Here it is. And here you can see it automatically changed for the second level, just because we've changed the only floor that we had over here. So that's why there is a change. And also one mistake that I have noticed is here it says 120 millimeters, but here if we select it, as you can see with those added layers, it's up to 16. So let's go ahead and rename it to 1, or let's go with 16 centimeters. I think that's the naming convention that we used for some other elements. So let's go like this. Okay, there we go. So now if you turn on thin lines, and so you can see everything, and you zoom into one of these floors, as you can see now this beam or that's part of the beam system is going all the way up to your wood floor. So that's not something that you want to have. You want this basically to end up here where your concrete stops. So an option to fix that would be to select your floor, and then here you have your option, the height offset from level, and let's do 4 centimeters. So that would basically bring it up for those layers, and there we go. This is what that would look like. But then if I were to select perhaps this door over here, as you can see, the door still goes down to the level, and then it goes here to the bottom, and that's not something you want to have. You don't want your door to go all the way down to concrete. It should go down to the top of the floor. So this will give you a lot of problems when the top of your floor isn't aligned with your level. So the second approach would be, and let me just go back a few steps. There we go. Okay, so the second approach would be to take all of our structural elements and then bring them down by those 4 centimeters. But that can be a bit tricky. So it's not really tricky to move those, it's tricky to select those. So to select first these beams, the smaller ones, you will have to select the system. So just hover over top of this thing until you get your structural beam system, and then you can select it. And then here we have the elevation from level, and then here we can type in -4, and there we go, it went down. Also here on the top, selected just like that, and then here let's type in -4. Now for horizontal beams, we can't really select them in this view. Well, we can select some of those, but we want to select all of those. So what I'm going to do for that is just go here into 3D, orbit around like this, make a cross selection around the whole floor, just like that. Then go here to filter, check none, and then let's just check structural framing other, hit apply, okay, and there we go. We have these 4 structural beams, and then here we can change the start level and end level offset, and let's change those to -4, hit apply, okay, and this should be fixed now. So let's just go back into first level and open up this section and zoom in. Okay, these didn't go down. Okay, these did. Maybe go here and change the detail level to fine. Yes, I think this looks good, but this one, I'm not really sure what this beam is. Okay, so we have accidentally selected a few more beams, so let's go back a few times. Okay, here we go. So maybe a better option would be just to go ahead here and select these individual beams like this in a section, just like that, and then give them that offset. You can either change it here, or you can go here and give it maybe a Z justification offset. I prefer to go here and give it a start level and end level offset. Here, I guess because of some of the connections, it's pulling down these beams. So if you have a trouble like this, then I guess the solution could be to play around with that Z-axis offset. So let's try that. So here we have the Z-axis offset value, and let's change that to -4. There we go. Now it looks a lot better, cleaner. Yeah, I think that's it. We have fixed this part. All of this looks okay at the moment, at least in section where it should look okay. So let's change this to fine level of detail. Yes, this thing looks all right as well. You can give it a vertical profile offset just by the value of -4 centimeters, and then it will again be aligned with this. So this is that kind of the slab edge that we used to kind of enclose everything. Okay, so to select the rest of these beams, what you have to do is go back into your first level, move your section here, so it will kind of grab the rest of the building, and then here we have this beam looks okay. Okay, this one seems to be on top, this one as well, so select that one. Okay, so pretty much all of these seem to be in the wrong place, so let's just select all of them and give them that little offset. Okay, this one seems to be okay. This one isn't. There we go. So let's just go here and change this to -4. And there we go. So now everything should be in a correct place, and I think it is. So there we go. So we brought down all of those beams, and now we have a correct looking building. Yeah, and the floor is now correct. We have our hardwood flooring in our office. Now let's take a quick look inside of the structural core and the floor that we have here. Now if I hover just over this line and hit the tab key a few times, I can select the floor. Now before I start editing the floor, I can immediately find a mistake over here that I made. Now as you can see, the floor appears here inside of the elevator shaft, and that's not something that you want to have. So in order to fix that, let's hover near that opening and then select that opening. And then here we can go into edit sketch and make the adjustment. So let's make the adjustment just like this. Actually, I'm going to make the opening go all the way inside of the structural core, or the core boundary of this wall. So let's fix that here, and let's take a look at how it looks here. Yeah, here we can do the same thing. So let's make an opening just like that. and the same thing here. So basically the floor would go up to that line. I think that's how it should look. Okay, so now I'm just going to hit finish. There we go. Our opening looks a lot better now. Now let's hover over this line, hit the tab key a few times, and here we have our floor. Now this is the 160 millimeter floor, so that's the one that that's the one where we just have a bit of a thicker floor. So let's select that one and go here into edit type. Now I already know the thickness of this floor, so we are going to be adding 4 more centimeters of layers to this floor. So let's just immediately rename it into 20 centimeter floor. Okay, so, or actually let's rename it 20 centimeter tile floor or tile floor, just because I want to have tiles here. Here because it's an elevator, and here is the staircase, and then here we have the bathroom, so it makes sense to use some sort of tile or some sort of stone, something like that. Now here, if I go into edit structure, I'm going to add a few more layers, so let's insert a few more layers. Let's add one substrate layer here and then one finish layer. Both of them will be 2 centimeters, so let's type in 2 into here. Now here, this one will be the same insulation as I used. Let's search for that. Yeah, the rigid insulation. And here for this one, I want to use the same material that I used as finish for the stair, and for the stair I used that as stone. So let's search for stone, and I think it's something with T. I think it's this one. Yes, that's the one that I used. So let me just open that up. And there we go. So we have a stone finish over here. And there we go. Now we have fixed that. We have fixed that as well. Now it makes sense to take this section and let's run it through this here area, so we can see the connection between these two floors. So if I just select that and open it up, and if we just zoom in over here, yeah, this is what that looks like. So as you can see, it's a bit thicker construction, but the point is that the floor layers should be aligning, and that's actually what you want to have. So this actually looks good at this point. And of course over here, just because we've changed the family, automatically it's changed in all places, so it looks good pretty much everywhere. Now, one more thing that we should consider before moving on from the floors is these two floors for these two little balconies. So if I were to go here to first level, and then let's just select this floor like this, as you can see, it includes the little balcony. Now we can't really have oak flooring on the balcony, so we have to make a change there. So what I'm going to do then in that case is just go here into edit boundary, and then let's change the boundary so it doesn't really include this here little balcony. So let's maybe stop the floor over here or something like that. There we go. And then just go into trim and extend like this. Okay, hit finish. There we go. We can save the project. And now I'm just going to hit no. I don't want to attach anything to the bottom. Now what I'm going to do now, while this floor is selected, just go here into empty white space, right click and go with create similar, and now we can create a similar floor. Now here the one that we have an option for is the 16 centimeter. I don't want that one. I want the tile floor 20 centimeters, so we can have a tile floor here on our balcony. But because it's a balcony, you don't really have to have that rigid sound insulation. So let's just go here into edit type, duplicate this one, and let's call it tile floor 18 centimeter. And then hit OK. And then go here into edit type and just get rid of this layer, delete it, hit OK, OK again, there we go, and then just do a rectangle that should go, I think, from here. Okay, I hope I'm making the right rectangle. Oh, no, or no, maybe on the inside. Yeah, it should be aligned with this interior line of the curtain wall. So let's just go here to the align tool and then select. Can we make a selection of that? There we go, and then just align it like that. Here it's already aligned, so we can just hit finish, and there we go. We have that balcony floor over here. So or no, I think it's on the floor below. There we go, it looks like this, looks perfect. Okay, so we just want to copy it up here, but before we can do that, we need to adjust this existing floor. So let's select that one, go into edit boundary, and then let's go to our second level and basically make the same adjustment. So just kind of line like this and a line like that, and then just trim and extend. Just like that, hit finish. Nope. And then let's just copy this floor, copy, paste, align to selected levels, and then let's just select align it to second level. And there we go, we have that floor here, and we have pretty much finished all of the floors for our 2 levels, and they now look correct. So that's going to conclude this this part of the course, part 4. And moving on, I'm going to be showing you now how to kind of set all of these plans up, so we can have basically some project documentation, how to add annotation, and then we're going to be covering the details and also much more. Also, we have to model the surrounding, and of course I'm sure we're going to have a lot more things pop up that we need to model and solve and fix up. But anyways, that concludes this part of the course. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back with the next part next week. Have a nice day.